Alright guys, welcome back to another technical video. Now for this video, again, we're going to piggyback off of something I talked about in a previous video where I discussed IP addresses and the different types of IP addresses. Primarily, I was talking about the domain name system, or DNS. And when I was talking about that, something that I mentioned was every single thing on the internet has an IP address, including things that we can't see on our side as regular everyday internet users. Now the thing with that is there is something called a computer server, something that's very fundamental and definitely essential to computer networking, but I haven't touched on it yet. And I think it's something that we've all kind of heard of and maybe are familiar with it, at least by name. And that's mainly due to media, movies, and stuff like that. Like whenever I bring up that word to people, they kind of get intimidated. They don't know what a server is, and I can only imagine what they imagine when they hear that term. So for this video, I want to quickly go over what a computer server is, what its function is, and hopefully this helps clear this stuff up, especially if you intend on going into infotech, infosec, and just any other, tech-based role. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So before we answer the question, what is a computer server, I want to paint this quick picture for you. Imagine that you have a lovely date, with whoever you can imagine, if it's a celebrity, your current partner, whoever it is. And you guys have a date. You go for a nice night out on the town. You go to a nice dinner that you reserved at a great restaurant, and you get escorted to your table, you sit down, you enjoy the nice meal and dessert with your date. You just have a great night through and through. Now, once you reach that dinner table, there are three main, I guess you can say, components when it comes to getting the food and hopefully not sending it back, which would be you, the couple, the people going out on that date, the waiter or waitress, which for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to say waiter, and the chef in the background that you usually don't interact with directly. For the sake of this video, there are two parts out of those three that I want you to focus on. You, the couple, and the waiter or waitress. Now I want you to hit pause on that picture in your head. We're going to go back to reality here. So this is where we're going to enter the computer server. The computer server is basically that waiter, that person who receives requests from you and processes those requests and gives you a response, whether more times than not they can give you what you want, but every once in a while they're not able to. Now, because you are the one that's making requests and as well as receiving things from the server when you make those said requests, you are what's known as a client. This is a literal term for computer networking. You are the person making requests and trying to get things out of the server, so you're the client. And then the server itself is the one that receives those requests that you're trying to find stuff, pictures, videos on YouTube, music streaming, all that stuff. It's trying to process those requests and give it to you. So it's the server. Literally all of your favorite services, all of your basic, websites and everything function because of servers. If computer servers didn't exist, the internet, I think in general, safe to say, would not exist, at least not in the form that we know it as. This also pertains to video games. We're going to go after one of the biggest names in video games that's been around since I was in middle school, if not younger, Call of Duty. And Call of Duty is the type of game, because I think I prefer Tom Clancy games, because Call of Duty is just way too fast paced for me. But Call of Duty is without a doubt the biggest name, the bigger name, when it comes to FPSs and third person shooters and stuff like that. Part of that, if not the main reason, is how people play with each other online. Basically, in order for you to be able to play with a bunch of people, friends or even strangers, you need to be connected to the internet, and you need through the internet to be able to connect to the Call of Duty server in order for this gameplay to work. If you suddenly were to get an error in the middle of gameplay and say, hey, you're no longer connected to the COD server, then you're not going to be able to play with people online. You may be able to do certain things that already came with the disc, that already came with the game, like the campaigns and stuff, but that's more native to the game. In order for you to connect with other people across the world who are playing the game through the internet, you yourself also need to be connected to the through the internet to the Call of Duty server. So without the server, there is no Call of Duty, at least not the most important part that people actually care about. Because I usually, if ever, hear people talk about the campaigns when it comes to Call of Duty. It's always about playing online. It's always about playing with their homeboys. And it's always about playing with just strangers in general. This is where you get this is where you always get the whole thing of grown men my age and 30s and up coming across little kids, teens and preteens that are way too good at these games for their age, and they end up becoming like kind of like internet friends or even internet rivals, and those kids get a little too gummy at the mouth and all that stuff, you know. So that's how all that stuff happens. So that's like the cornerstone when it comes to COD. If it wasn't for servers, a lot of the things that we like to do, that we love to do, things that we make money off of, you know, the internet itself probably would not exist at all, or at the very least would not exist in the way we've come to know it in modern day. But that should be pretty straightforward, guys, just to get the ball rolling on the concept of what a server is. And hopefully this made it a little less intimidating for those who may have wondered about it, who need to learn about it for work and stuff like that, or if you're just curious for the heck of it. So I'll go ahead and leave this video off here, and maybe we'll build on this in the future. I'll go ahead, or rather go ahead and leave me comments, questions, feedback, anything like that in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.